Hello and welcome to Roadmap 2015. I'm Benga Ashiru. We begin today with the political parties' manifestos for the forthcoming 2015 general elections. It's apparent that the various campaign trails have been marred by hate speeches, alleged defamatory comments, and worse still, electoral violence. In all these, what is the fate of the people whom the political parties seek to govern? Is there a clear-cut people-driven agenda for the common man? Why has the attention suddenly shifted to attacking personalities rather than having an issue-based campaign? Some analysts are saying this development has brought the quality of Nigeria's electoral process to a low watermark far below international best practice for a country that truly yearns for a vibrant democratic culture. Meanwhile, the issue of the use of card readers for the forthcoming elections is currently eliciting a heated debate. Recently, PDP just had to make its position clear on this. Take a listen.
PDP is not against the card readers. The PDP believe that INEC should test it and it should be in perfect condition so that we don't run into problems. That's what we have done. We urge INEC to test them so that on that day, on the 28th, it will be ready in a perfect condition so that we don't have a problem of where in some areas it will be working and in some areas it will not be working. I mean, these are human feelings across not only PDP but across this country that since it's the first time we are going to adopt this technology, it should be in a perfect condition so that people will not have reason to complain. PDP is leading, PDP is solidly on the ground in 9,572 wards across this nation. I have to release these statistics to you to give you the reason why we are saying that this election, we will win this election comfortably against the propaganda of APC.
Let's come to the issue of campaign manifestos. We begin with this current administration. Has the PDP delivered in its campaign manifesto of 2011 elections? Taking account of stewardship in priority areas in terms of poverty alleviation, security, infrastructural development, power generation, and access to quality education. How would you rate this current administration in terms of service delivery? Channels TV takes up the Minister of State for Education, Professor Viola Onwuliri. She comments on the recent resolution of the crisis in the Nigerian polytechnics. On mainstream politics, Professor Viola Onwuliri blames the APC for inciting electoral violence in the Up-North, while she says the recent Okrika violence is an act of desperation and underhand maneuvers of an APC make-believe tactics to dent the image of the PDP.
We are not in any state of panic. PDP is a people's-oriented party. PDP believes in the welfare of the Nigerian person and the Nigerian people. And PDP does everything possible to ensure that Nigerians get what they deserve. And if at some point in time there are issues that are not clear, the party, officials of the party, officials of government who are also part of the party try their best to ensure that those issues are cleared and people get their due. So that we are not in any way panicky. We don't have to be, because the government has done very well. His Excellency Mr. President, when he came into power in 2011, he gave us the transformation agenda, and he has consistently and successfully prosecuted the transformation agenda in all facets.
Let me take you up on your own area with particular emphasis on your own area of supervision, that's as the Minister of State for Education. What in particular would you say are the successes of this current administration?
In education in all, the federal government has done exceedingly well. First of all, you will notice that the education budget increased during President Jonathan's administration. In the area where I supervise, the area of universal basic education, we've done a whole lot. There is no community in this country that does not have at least one UBEC classroom. There's none. No community in this country. I'm not talking about any particular state. The federal government hinges the excellence in education on access and quality. And in the area of access, we believe that the more classrooms you have, the more you decongest what you have, and the more pupils can be admitted in these schools. And that is why the Universal Basic Education Commission has gone through to sponsoring and partnering with state governments to build classroom blocks across the country. Some are counterpart, some are direct, completely UBE funded. Others are self-help projects that support communities to also build. In addition to those classrooms, we've supplied millions of furniture to schools across this country. We've also, given books, millions of books to basic schools in this country. And we'll continue to do that. A whole lot is happening in every state. In terms of the schools, each time we'll have new designs of schools. For instance, in some of the schools, we'll have 3 classroom blocks, 5 classroom blocks, 10 classroom blocks. In some areas, we have a story building block. In 1 or 2 states, we have 2-story building classrooms. In a few others, we have a story building classrooms, including my own state, Imo State, where we have a story building classroom, which the state government, of course, is claiming. That one has been in the news. We have that in the 305 wards in the state, so it's ongoing. But they are federal government projects.
Examining this concession by the federal government to the ASUP group, do you think this would win the sympathy of Nigerians in favor of the president regarding the 2015 elections?
No, the thing is that the ASUP crisis, we've been on it actually. The resolution didn't come automatically. We've been on it. The Honorable Minister, His Excellency Shekarau, if you remember when he came on board, he appealed to them to suspend the strike, that he was going to solve the problem, and that we're going to make sure that strike actions will be a thing of the past in the educational system. And he was said to keep his words. He's been discussing with them. So we're even surprised with the showman show that happened a few days ago, because they had discussed and decided to come back to talk. So we are not doing it because elections are on the way.
Let's move into mainstream politics now. The peace accord that was signed on January this year, many analysts have said it's under threat. Would you say the peace accord is still valid, considering the recent attack and the violence in Okrika, Rivers State?
Of course, the peace accord is valid. You see, people are very mischievous. You cannot begin to point accusing fingers, because people may also do what they want to do so that they're able to distract Nigerians by pointing accusing fingers. In Igbo land, there's something we say that somebody will stay inside the bush and make noise or kill something, and then come out in the street to say who has done this. So one is not sure, because this opposition party we are talking about, they are not sincere people. You have seen what happened recently, where somebody will come to Abuja and take a photograph and tell us it's in London. So they are capable of causing this problem just to put PDP in bad light. So I'm sure you don't trust them. It's like what is happening in Imo State. A governor comes, beat up widows, and then you're coming to tell Nigerians that they are from Abia State, they are men in women clothes. Which Igbo man will allow you to, will agree to wear a female clothes? Nobody who does things like that. And then who wants to be a widow anyway? And this, the stock in trade of these people, they don't tell the truth. They have never told the truth. That one in Imo State is a global liar, and that is what they all continue to do.
On the flip side, the federal government controls all the instruments of power. And if it's failing to guarantee security, isn't this an indictment on the federal government?
Of course, the federal government is doing very well. Let me tell you something about security everywhere in the world. It's not just the law enforcement agencies or the central government that does security. Security is the business of every individual. So those who organized that meeting should have also ensured that their security is guaranteed. So it's everybody's business. And if you have black legs there, and they come there to cause confusion, what will the federal government do? So when we talk about federal government, we are all part of the security experiment. All over the world, everybody, participates in ensuring that the environment is secured.
Let's move into the insurgency issue you've just raised now. We've seen a radical shift by the federal government in its anti-insurgency campaign in the Northeast. Now, initially, the federal government had always insisted on the protection of the civilian population, and that has account for why the federal government could not launch a total offensive in the Northeast. But now we are seeing the federal government taking this shift and launching a radical offensive in the Northeast. So how would you explain this difference? Is it the election, the forthcoming election, that is propelling this move by the federal government?
There's no radical shift. There's no radical shift. The federal government is still interested in securing the civilian population. You would note that for some months now, different countries of the world had come into Nigeria to help us. They are the US, you have Israel, you have France, you have some other countries who have been in this country. I'm sure they've been understudying the situation and the environment. So when people were busy saying the government is not doing anything, government was busy studying the environment and what to do. And when they now started at this stage of control, of facing the problem, and that is what we have. Government cannot stop minding the civilian population. But me and you will not even know which one is civilian population. Those that are there will know those who are actually civilians. You really have to be sure of who the civilians are. In these days, this time and age that we're talking about, every day we are talking about female suicide bombers. Is it not a sad thing to note? So we don't now go and say, oh, all these women are innocent. So those who are there, who would have found out using different things, we know where to hit. But we'll continue to be mindful of the civilian population any day, anywhere.
Projecting into the forthcoming elections now, how do you see the outcome playing out? Do you think this will be falling on that of party lines or that of the candidates?
Both. In the coming election, by the special grace of God, the PDP that has worked very, very hard for this country, we are expecting, we are hoping, we are believing, and we know by the special grace of God that we'll come out victorious because we have worked. Mr. President came out, like I said, gave us his transformation agenda, and there's no aspect of that transformation agenda that he has not achieved creditably. In fact, more than people expected. And so we are very happy as a party to campaign for him because there is no place in this country that he has not worked. It's just that in some of the states, like in some of the opposition states, they appropriate federal government projects. And because people didn't think there was any need to start talking about these things, the populists believe what some of the governors tell them about these projects. You see NDDC projects, a governor will say it's his project. You see MDG project. You see that of the River Basin Authority. You see that of Federal Ministry of Agriculture in your state. We bring seedlings, you say it's your own. We bring fertilizer, you say it's the state government. You know? But when you now start talking about this is not your own state government, it becomes a problem. You're criticizing them, you're insulting them, you're saying they're lying, whereas they're lying.
Let's keep the conversation going round by sending us your comments on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. With an unprecedented ovation of change by the APC, can we have their manifestos? We'll get to know after the break. Don't go away.